And happy Halloween from the Bluegrass. For the scariest sight for Kentucky fans are these Bulldogs, winners of 10 straight in a series that dates to 1939. Quarterbacks will be the story today. Stetson Bennett again, but Terry Wilson out for Kentucky, and so it'll be Joey Gatewood getting the ball. Two beasts of the East try to steal each other's candy today. SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate. Temperatures in the mid-50s and a clear
Georgia
blue sky in the Bluegrass. Number 5, Georgia, trying to get back on track, taking on upset-minded Kentucky, which hasn't won in this series since a comeback in 2009. Georgia has a clear path to the SEC championship. They just need to win out. They should be favored the rest of the way, including today. Heavy favorites against the Cats. Let's get down to the field. Cole Kublik standing by with the head dog, Kirby Smart.
Coach Smart, 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Can you just take us through how your quarterback depth chart will look like for the game against Kentucky?
Yeah, Stetson's going to start. He's been with our ones. He's worked really hard. He's done a good job. Those other guys are still working and still gaining. But, you know, Stetson's the guy we feel really good about. Stetson's a leader, and we want him to go out and play well today.
Can you give us an update on wide receiver George Pickens and running back Kenny McIntosh?
Yeah, both are unavailable today. They tried to go during the week, weren't quite able to make it, so they're out.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Cole, that's the word from the head dog, Tom Hart, joined by Jordan Rogers. Jordan will see Stetson Bennett. No surprise to us. The coaches have told us all week this is his team. He's the guy.
Yeah, and you'd expect after a week off if there was ever any questions that there was anybody close to him, you'd see them. So let's get used to it. This is Stetson Bennett's football team. He made some mistakes last week against Alabama or 2 weeks ago against Alabama. Some of those you expect. I want to see him build off of those and the learning moments he had. He's going to have a challenge, though. No George Pickens. Going to have to lean heavily on Jermaine Burton, Kyrus Jackson, but I expect him to get better today.
Well, turnovers were key for Georgia in that Alabama game, and takeaways have been key for this Kentucky team. They have been an opportunistic defense all season.
And that's something that Stetson's going to have to deal with. Look, this Kentucky team likes to play zone. And the knock on Stetson Bennett would be arm strength, right? Can you fit it into those tight windows? You're going to have a lot of defenders with zone eyes. You're down a playmaker. I'm watching Stetson Bennett, how he manipulates the defense, because if Kentucky's going to win this football game and be in this football game, they're going to need a lot of turnovers and disruption on that side of the ball.
Georgia won the toss. The Bulldogs have elected to defer, so Kentucky will receive. And we'll get our first look at the Auburn transfer, Joey Gatewood, at quarterback. Georgia has dominated this series. As I mentioned, they've won 10 in a row. It's Georgia's longest winning streak in the series. In that span, over the last decade, Georgia has lost twice to everybody else in the East, excluding Missouri, who obviously didn't join the league until 2012. So they have dominated Kentucky, and the Cats are a team that have shown promise this season, but inconsistency. Jake Camarda to kick it off. Zach Johnson set to receive for Kentucky. And no return for the Cats. But Georgia fans have been wondering about their quarterback situation. What about Kentucky fans? Terry Wilson returned from injury this season, but he is injured again this week. He hasn't practiced. He hands the reins to Joey Gatewood with highly touted freshman Bo Allen with a big arm waiting in the wings. What do we expect from Gatewood today?
Well, look, he's a different style runner than Terry Wilson. He's not going to beat you with speed as much as he's going to beat you with physicality. I expect to see some downhill runs early, maybe some unbalanced sets. Interesting, creative ways to get his legs involved.
He's got A.J. Rose in the backfield to start this game, and Keaton Upshaw, the tight end, will relocate. It's a Kentucky offense that did not have success against Missouri last time out, and the give to Rose nets 2 yards. Against Missouri, Kentucky's offense ran just 36 plays. In that same game, Missouri's offense was on the field for 92 snaps.
And that's one of the reasons we're seeing Joey Gatewood, right? Consistency. Kentucky only completed 5 passes last week. So you got to get more positive plays through the air to complement what they want to do on the ground.
Josh Ali in motion, toss sweep to him. Ali trying to find the edge, and he takes it past the 30. Richard LeCount with the tackle for Georgia. That's a pickup of 4.
And this is the position that Kentucky wants to be in, right? Get to a 3rd and short. Great job there of getting the ball in your playmaker's hands. Get to a 3rd and short. 3rd medium here at 3rd and 4. This is where I would start to expect some quarterback runs. When are they going to show what they're going to do with Joey Gatewood using his legs?
Gatewood 6'4", 221. First start of his career today against one of the best defenses in the country. And here's Gatewood in his legs, and he'll try to bend it to the outside, and a solid run for a fresh set of downs as he picks up 8.
Balling off Jordan Davis. That allows a nice seam for Joey Gatewood to get north and south. Eddie Grant told me before the game, guys, expect some runs early on 3rd down and manageables, maybe what would normally be a passing down, trying to get Gatewood a little more comfortable.
Chris Rodriguez is now in at tailback. Arguably, he's been the most productive tailback for Kentucky this season. Little different style of play. Gatewood pulls and keeps it himself, but has nowhere to go. Met by Nakobe Dean in the hole. It's a gain of 2.
And what we saw right there is a preview of what Eddie Grant wants to do. We saw him come out with an unbalanced set, right? 2 receivers and a tight end to the boundary. Then they motion the one other receiver to the boundary, right? Georgia has only seen 3 plays of unbalance all year, and it's something Kentucky does a ton of. So expect them to start to use that to create mismatches in the run game.
We'll talk to you more about that after this 2nd and 8 as Rodriguez relocates behind Gatewood. Here's Rodriguez. Why does the unbalance create an issue for the Georgia defense?
Well, it's communication, right? It messes with the rules for a defense, right? When you set the strength or a tight end is in one way, the defensive front gets set based off that. The linebackers adjust based off that. Now you throw everybody into a boundary or you put everybody to one side. Now the defense has to communicate and decide where they're putting people, which gaps they're covering. It just causes some hesitation, and it's a way that Kentucky can steal yards. Get confusion, steal a couple yards.
3rd down 5, opening drive for the Cats. Georgia's the 4th-ranked defense in the country against the run, but Kentucky's already picked up a couple of first downs with it. Rodriguez needed 5, got maybe 3, and that'll set up 4th down from just about midfield. If you're Kentucky, you're heavy underdogs. You keep the offense on the field here.
I was just about to say this sounds like a great spot to mix in that quarterback run with a 240-pound quarterback, but it looks like they're going to get out there and punt. Make this a field position game. Rely on their defense, but their defense has kept them in a lot of ball games lately, right? So they're going to rely on that aspect and try not to get behind the 8 ball early in this game if they were to not get that 4th down.
Kearis Jackson back to receive. Max Duffy, the 27-year-old Australian. Former Australian professional football player, gets it away. One of the best in the country, the reigning Ray Guy Award winner. And that one will get out of bounds. We'll see if it's at the 12 or further up. And they'll mark that at the 14, a 40-yard punt. Stetson, Fleming, Bennett, the 4th, will take the snaps for Georgia. There was no question, Jordan, when we talked with the Georgia coaches, both Kirby Smart and offensive coordinator Todd Monken, that this is Stetson's team.
Yeah, he gives them the best chance to win, right? They termed it, he's athletic enough to help us. In those problem plays, when things break down outside, when protection's not perfect, he's done a great job of using his legs to bail them out.
Junior from Blackshear, Georgia, down at Pierce County, south of the Nat line, 4th in the country in QBR, coming off of a career-high 269 yards against Bama. Hands it off to Zamir White. He finds a hole on 1st down. And if Georgia can do that, take a lot of pressure off Bennett. Jordan Wright, the tackle.
I thought it was pretty amazing, Tom, when we were talking with Todd Monken and Kirby Smart. They said, look, Stetson came to us in fall camp and said, I deserve to be in this quarterback competition. And when we talked to him, he goes, and their reply was, we don't believe so, right? I mean, they said, look, we know what we have in you. We need to understand what we have in these other 4 guys. And now here we are. And Stetson, it's his team moving forward.
There's White again for the 1st down, and he can be versatile, almost as versatile as his great-grandpa, who was both the moonshiner and a Baptist preacher. Flag on the play. Georgia has struggled on their opening drives this season. Here's Matt Leffler.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, 1st down.
This doesn't look like a drive that Georgia's going to struggle on. An extra 15 yards tacked on there. The first 4 games, opening drives, punt, fumble, pick. Not what they had in mind. But they are showing their dominance and flexing their muscles here early on against Kentucky. Zamir White again, and they are feeding Zeus. Got popped right through the hole, but still picked up 4. White, the redshirt sophomore from. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, keep an eye on this, right? Because Georgia wants to run the football. Kentucky is banged up in their front 7, right? Quentin Bohanna is not playing because of an injury. Phil Hoskins up there, their 315-pound defensive tackle, he's banged up. Josh Paschal on the outside is banged up. So they got to find a way to plug up those holes and be more physical at the point of attack with guys that are used to being in there, not in there.
This is James Cook. Nice cutback and vision by Cook, who takes it inside the 45 and a first down on a 10-yard run. Georgia has an embarrassment of riches at the running back position. Stop me if you've heard that before. It seems like it's been that way for years. What they don't have is an experienced offensive line. A bunch of newcomers up there in front of Stetson Bennett. Trey Hill at center, 23rd consecutive start. Bennett will roll, looks to throw for the first time. He'll tuck and run and scramble for 3.
And Tom, you mentioned these running backs. They are super talented. Obviously, Kenny McIntosh, who's looked good at times, he's out today. But Kendall Milton is a stud. He's a true freshman, 6'1", 220 pounds. And look, we talked to Todd Monken. He said there's some things he can't do in protection. The package is smaller. But he said, I was at Oklahoma State with Barry Sanders. There was things he couldn't do as well. And we just said, all we got to do is toss him the ball. So when he's in, look for them to get Kendall Milton involved. He's physical going downhill.
Freshman from the West Coast out of Fresno, California. Here's Milton. Man, they run guy after guy after guy after Yusuf Corker after an 18-tackle performance last week. It's his first today.
Look, not knowing the entire offense should never be an issue to stop you from getting on the field when you're this talented, right? Find a way, find a few things that he can do so you can get the ball in his hands. He reminds me a lot of Nick Chubb. He's physical, similar body type, and when he gets going downhill, he is tough to bring down.
Bennett hands it off again. Easy to see what Todd Monken's plan is today with this Georgia team. Every play has been on the ground.
And if you're Kentucky, you love staying in 2 high zones. You like playing bent but don't break on the back end. But when you do that, you don't have enough guys around the line of scrimmage. And with the injuries they've had, they got to find a way to stack the box, get more bodies in there to slow down this run game and make Stetson Bennett beat you with his arm.
Zamir White back in at tailback. He takes it and picks up another first down. I mean, this is just an offensive line paving the way for a couple of Ferraris back there. Kearis Jackson had a key block on the edge from his wide receiver spot.
And this is great to see, right? I mean, this is who Georgia should be. With the talent that they recruit up front, with a quarterback that entered the season 4th or 5th on the depth chart, this has to be their identity. A great start on the ground.
Opening drive for the Bulldogs. Another run and another positive play. It's Zamir White again. The redshirt sophomore from Laurinburg, North Carolina, was one of the best high school running backs in the country when he committed to Georgia. He was coming off of one ACL injury, got to campus, suffered another, and now he has a chance to be the featured back. This will be the 10th play of the drive for the Bulldogs. It's White again. Cole, what is this Georgia offensive line doing on this drive?
Leaning on this Kentucky defense. Matt Luke's done an excellent job. Sometimes you take over as an O-line coach. It's not a lot of fun. Guys you hadn't been around, new technique, new fundamentals, new verbiage. This group is really excellent.
Here's tempo now, 3rd and 1. Zamir White straight ahead. First down. And he'll be looking at a 1st and goal from the 2. Jamin Davis with the stop. So Georgia mixing it up, going tempo on 3rd down, doing it again here on 1st.
Yeah, wear that defensive line down and don't give them a time to catch their breath, and they're going tempo again here.
Zamir White? No, it's Stetson Bennett who takes it in. After all that, the mailman cashes in with a 2-yard touchdown run.
Man, they lull you to sleep, right? Between the tackles, up the middle. And then I mentioned it earlier, Stetson Bennett is athletic enough to do this, right? A zone read. It's a great job pulling off the linebacker, crashing down. And that's all they need out of that quarterback position in the run game. They don't need him to be a dynamic athlete. They need him to make plays just like that.
Jack Podlesny for the kick, and he knuckles it through. 12 plays, 86 yards, all 86 on the ground for this Georgia offense. They took 5:06 off the clock, and Stetson Bennett with his second rushing touchdown. Georgia paving the way to an early lead. All right, PB, thanks. If you missed the news, Trevor Lawrence out with a positive COVID test. They hope he can return for the Notre Dame game. Jake Camarda kicks it off for Georgia. Let's take another look at the particulars on that opening drive for the Georgia Bulldogs. They leaned and leaned, 12 plays, 86 yards, all of them on the ground. Cole, a lot of impressive numbers all the way around.
How about this, guys? Before that Stetson Bennett rushing touchdown, Zamir White had 16 of the 18 rushing attempts inside the 10-yard line for Georgia this season. It's only the second rush attempt all season inside the 10 for the Georgia Bulldogs that was not handed to Zamir White.
That's going against your tendencies right there, and Bennett was able to waltz it in. Second possession for Kentucky. Joey Gatewood getting the start. He's got Chris Rodriguez next to him. Terry Wilson, their starting quarterback, out with a hand injury all week. And Jordan, it seems like that simplified things at the quarterback position for Kentucky. Terry is the starter. Mark Stoops made sure to make that clear to us. But they're also looking for some answers to this offense, which performed very poorly, to put it mildly, last week against Mizzou.
Yeah, Tom, they're looking for a spark, really, right? I mean, it was just flat last week. Nothing worked, and Gatewood wasn't particularly stellar either, but they need a change-up in energy. They need a change-up in scheme, and Gatewood right now provides that.
He was just 1 of 3 last week against Missouri. He's only attempted 5 passes this season. It's Rodriguez again. Mentioned earlier, Georgia, the 4th-ranked team in the country against the run. They only allow 66 yards per game on the ground. Where can Kentucky find a spot to attack?
Well, it's with Gatewood running between the tackles. I mean, anytime you have a physical runner, you can add an extra blocker to the point of attack, right? The zone read makes that running back not a blocker. The quarterback physical downhill run makes that running back now a lead blocker, and you can get an extra point or a blocker to the point of attack.
Here's that imbalance you were talking about. 4 receivers to the left side that we discussed on the opening drive. Rodriguez keeps it, and he's able to power his way for a first down with a gain of 5.
This is exactly what Kentucky needs to do. Mix in zone read, mix in design quarterback runs. Look, Gatewood probably could have kept this one as well. They had to look to the handoff as well as him running the football. So early on, the unbalance is creating numbers for Kentucky in the box. Georgia's got to adjust to those unbalanced sets.
Rodriguez, a 3rd-year sophomore out of McDonough, Georgia. Second possession for Kentucky. Gatewood keeps it. And he's able to take it to the 44, the gain of 6. Lewis Seen in on the tackle for Georgia.
Gain of 6 yards.
Kentucky offense last year led by Lynn Bowden, primarily on quarterback run. The year before, Terry Wilson had a bevy of backs he could lean on, and prior to that, it was a play-action design offense which hit a lot of deep shots. And you wonder if Eddie Graham might return to a couple of those deep shots if Kentucky wants a chance to win today.
Watch for another quarterback run here. They vacate the backfield, only 5 guys in the box for Georgia.
It is a draw. Gatewood, though, has nowhere to go. Just 2 yards in 3rd and 2 upcoming.
But again, if you're Eddie Graham, based on last week when they couldn't buy a 3rd down, this is great. You want to continue to get in 3rd and shorts because it gives you a 2-way go. The physical quarterback, you can run, or quick game is still a viable option, or getting him outside the pocket is also an option.
Well, you hit the key phrase, quick game. Both teams combined, 23 plays, 22 rushes. Looks good for Cole's flight getting home today. DeMarcus Harris in at wideout in motion. Second pass of the game, or not. Gatewood taken down in the backfield. Georgia's able to get to him. Eric Stokes, the first man there. It's a loss of 2.
And the pressure comes from the bottom of your screen here. This is something when it's your first start and you're going against Georgia. They do a great job of disguising pressures. Look at this pressure from the corner. It's a cat corner. Tough to see because when you're into the boundary, that safety that wants to roll over the top of that receiver, it doesn't give you much to see. So Gatewood already has got to be better at evaluating where pressure might come from. Something that's tough to do on your first start.
Mitch Merrill with some words of encouragement for Gatewood. Here's the Aussie Duffy again. And he'll punch this one downfield. Taken inside the 10. Beautiful punt. Covers 49 yards. It'll back up Stetson Bennett in Georgia. Stetson Bennett stands 5'11", 190. It's not just his height, but also his delivery that sometimes causes an issue.
Yeah, we saw it against Alabama. Georgia might not need to run the football a ton today, but when they do need to throw the football, that comes into play. His height is less than he'd like, but the release point being 3/4 brings that ball down another 6 or 7 inches. And look, that throw barely clears his own offensive lineman. The defensive linemen for Kentucky need to focus on passing downs, getting their hands up, more so than they need to focus on getting pressure on the quarterback. Try to bat some balls, create turnovers, or negative plays.
6'5", 6'3", 6'5" on that front line for Kentucky. Here's a handoff to Zamir White, and he will crawl forward. Georgia hasn't had to pass it yet in this game. But Cole, from an offensive lineman perspective, what can they do to help that in those scenarios?
Well, if you got somebody trying to bat balls, first thing you do is you see a defensive lineman put his hands up, you got to punch his lights out. You got to put a hole in his chest. Now, there are design plays that you can either go low and just cut, or as we were taught early in my Auburn career, put your helmet right in between their legs.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, D linemen don't like that. No one does.
Glad you cleared that up. On 2nd and 5, it's White again, and Marquand McCall, 380-pound nose guard in on the stop. He's filling in today, and his nickname is Bully, and he brings some girth to the middle of that Kentucky line.
And Brad White mentioned he needs to have a huge game. On a 3rd and medium now, he's coming out. Kentucky's trying to get quicker up front, anticipating a possible passing situation. Here's where you watch that Kentucky D-line. Get your hands up and try to bat a ball, because Georgia's going to try something quick.
James Cook in the backfield on this 3rd down. Great receiver out of the backfield. Bennett rolled last time they thought pass, ended up scrambling. This time he'll keep it. Got a huge hole, needs 4, got plenty more. And Bennett takes a shot at the end, and the ball came loose, but Georgia able to fall on it. John Fitzpatrick, the tight end, was right there.
Man, the luxury of being able to run the football effectively.
The ruling on the field is the player fumbled the ball and it was recovered by Georgia. First down.
You got 3rd and 4, and you can dial up a zone read, knowing your quarterback's going to make you right here. He's read number 15 on the end line of scrimmage. He gets down quick. It's an easy read and pull for Stetson Bennett. Use his athleticism, and right there at the end, ooh, I don't think his knee was down.
Georgia was able to recover it, so a non-issue even if the ball did come out.
Close for Kentucky. They got to get one of those if it's on the ball or it's on the ground.
Bennett throws for the first time, tipped it incomplete. You brought up something with your film study this week about Stetson Bennett and the way he carries the football that could be problematic for Georgia.
Yeah, he's been working on ball security, both in the pocket. He's got a tendency to hold it low and with one hand. And then when he does get outside the pocket, making sure that he always has 2 hands on it and it's tight to his chest. He gets in a situation where he starts to carry that thing like a loaf of bread down in his hand. He's got to be high and tight with that. So those fumbles that they just recovered don't turn into turnovers and opportunities for Kentucky.
2nd and 10. The longest 2nd down Georgia has faced yet, and Zamir White, or pardon me, James Cook will erase most of that with a 9-yard carry. Georgia not likely to get this playoff unless Bennett pulls the trigger quickly, and that'll be an end to a quick
That's the end of the first quarter.
You were hoping to get out and trick or treat later this afternoon? Well, Kirby Smart is your best friend. Georgia has done nothing but run it. And at the end of the first quarter, they have a 7-0 lead. A lot of superstars in this series. It dates to 1939, a series that Georgia has dominated. Dogs have won 10 straight. Start of the second quarter in Lexington, 5th-ranked Georgia looking at a 3rd and 1. Going to extend their second drive and add to their lead. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kublik on site. Perfect football weather. Sunny and crisp in the bluegrass today. Kendall Milton in a tailback. Needs one. And ran over a dude to get it. First down, Georgia. Let's get to the studio. Here's Peter Burns.
Thank you, Tom Hart. How about a little bit more chaos? Boston College, it's David Bailey from 2 yards out. They're up 14-7 in a game that has featured a lot more passing than y'all's in Lexington.
I'm one that roots for chaos, especially on Halloween. Here's the freshman Milton, and he's able to pick up 2 yards that time.
So Peter's saying they've thrown it twice?
That would cover it.
I love it. I love this Georgia offense coming out, just ground and pound, lean on a big physical offensive line. I talked to Matt Luke before the game. Told him I really feel like this group's exceeded expectations this year. You see it coming out today. I mean, Ben Cleveland's played a lot of football. Obviously, Trey Hill's played a lot of football. They're proving their worth this afternoon.
Bennett wants to throw this time. Lobs it out to the flat. It's incomplete off the hands of Milton. Jamin Davis has been sensational this year for Kentucky. He's coming off of a double-digit tackle game against Mizzou and has a couple of picks.
And now is where this receiving core and Stetson Bennett are going to be tested. No George Pickens. You have Jermaine Burton out there, a true freshman. Marcus Rosemead, Jack Saint, a true freshman. A couple of young players out there. Got to start to see what they can do.
No Pickens, no Kenny McIntosh.
Yeah, all the way at the bottom of your screen there, with some green grass there to work.
The Cook in the backfield. He'll release. Bennett looking for him. Fires to his running back. Can't quite get there. Brought down a yard short. And that'll bring up 4th and 1 from the 39. Offense is staying on the field. Love it.
And they're going back to this tempo. I mean, Kentucky has not been able to get aligned when Georgia goes tempo.
Cats running dudes on late, and now it'll be a check to the sideline. And we'll get a whistle and a timeout. Georgia. 4th and 1 upcoming for Stetson Bennett and his Bulldog offense.
Football is presented by Allstate. You've never been in better hands.
Great running backs historically and on this current roster. Secret to Georgia's success over the years, and guys having success on Sundays since leaving Kirby Smart's program. After the timeout on 4th and 1, Georgia's got the punt team out there, and Jake Camarda, the junior from Norcross, will punt it away. Josh Ali back for Kentucky. We'll see where this one comes down. It's going to come down inside the 10. 54-yard punt. So what do you do against Georgia? Not exactly easy to run against this defense. Cole, if they're guarding a haunted house, there's a lot of booze coming out.
Well, you think about if you're trying to trick or treat, right? The treats are the end zone. If you want to get to the end zone, you're going to have to go through this defensive line, and it starts in the middle of this defensive line with Jordan Davis, Julian Rochester, Devontae Wyatt, just a bunch of boulders on the inside of this Georgia defense. And what they do, in my opinion, is allow Georgia to do more with less up front at the line of scrimmage. They can beat you with fewer bodies than most other college football teams can.
Gatewood to throw on first down, and it's batted down. Incomplete. The 6'4" Gatewood having an issue with Malik Herring.
And Herring does a great job here of getting vertical, right? You want to rush the quarterback until you see his hands separate from the ball. Watch this. And once you get close enough, you see that separation, bam, get up. Great job timing that up. And again, it doesn't matter if you're 6'5", you're 5'11". The defense plays it right, you can knock it down.
Right on cue with these great edge rushers, whether it's Herring or Azeez Ojulari on the other side. 2nd and 10 to throw again. A double clutch, and that one delivered low but complete.
Tom, I just don't think I've ever seen this kind of depth off the edge. When you're talking about edge defenders that can rush the passers, play the run, you mentioned Malik Herring. To me, he's sort of the rugged one up front, does a lot of the dirty work. Ojulari is the speed to power guy, kind of the total package. He'd probably be the Lex Luger of the group. You got Jermaine Johnson that brings the length. Nolan Smith gives you some twitch. Adam Anderson's your speed guy around the corner. They just continue to reload over and over, down after down.
Anderson had a couple of sacks in the Auburn game. Kavasi Smoke in the game for Kentucky, back from injury. That one's complete for a first down for the Cats through the pickup of 9 to Allen Daly Jr. And they'll move the whole pile of them up another 4 yards.
And this is great to see. If there's one common thread between these coaches when we talk about offense at Kentucky, it's we got to find a number 2. We got to find somebody outside of Josh Ali that can make plays in man coverage, that can separate and give our quarterbacks good looks. Allen Daly, not the fastest guy out there, but runs a great route there. A little double move in man coverage, and Gatewood put it right on him.
Drake Jackson, the center, the leader of this Kentucky offensive line, looking for a call from the sideline. See, he's wearing a new number today, wearing 65, same number as O-line coach John Schlarman wore as an all-conference performer for Kentucky back in the late 90s. Straight ahead with Rodriguez. And that offensive line getting some push now, Cole.
Some good push, and obviously pretty cool to see Drake Jackson wearing 65 today to represent John Schlarman. But I've got to be honest, and maybe Jordan can correct me, I've never seen a center look to the sideline for a play and pretty much set everything for the entire offense, which is what Drake Jackson just did there. Obviously, that's highly beneficial for Joey Gatewood, but not having your offensive line coach on the sideline and having him on the field, essentially, pretty big for these Kentucky Wildcats.
John Schlarman has missed some time for Kentucky. He continues to battle cancer. Great story by Kyle Tucker in The Athletic to detail everything that he's fought through. On 2nd and 3. Here's Rodriguez again. Bounces to the outside, and he picks up the first down. By the way, Drake Jackson isn't the first Kentucky offensive lineman to wear 65 in honor of Schlarman. Bunchy Stallings, who's recruited hard by Schlarman, also wore that number 65 in honor of his coach. And his recruiting story was a doozy. Back in January of 14, Schlarman and company got stuck in a southern snowstorm recruiting Stallings. They hiked the final 4 miles to get to his high school, and they stayed in the gym with him until the clock struck midnight when NCAA rules said they had to leave. So they went and slept in the locker room, hiked back to their car the next day. Here's Rodriguez left side, and Kentucky having some success on the ground now. And Rodriguez carries guys to the logo. First down, Kentucky, and the whole pile still motoring.
Just great push there by Kentucky. Really good block by Justin Rigg, the tight end, number 83 as well. One thing to keep an eye on, Monty Rice just checked back into the game for Georgia. He's been banged up. He couldn't get off the block there. One of the reasons Kentucky picked up that yardage. He's been banged up with a foot injury. Him and Quay Walker bouncing in and out quite a bit. But as Kentucky has success between the tackles, something to keep an eye on. Their best linebacker not in there 100% of the time.
On 1st and 10. Gatewood to the edge. Gain of 5. Somehow Kentucky has found momentum. Jordan, how have they done it?
Well, it's just been slow and steady, right? Find a way to get your quarterback comfortable throwing short passes, pick up a 3rd down. Continue to find creative ways to design run plays to catch Georgia overcommitting to some unbalanced sets. Grant's doing a great job of mixing in a lot of different looks for Georgia. And this is a huge drive for Kentucky to get points.
See if they try to go deep. Gatewood pulls it back. Flush from the pocket and fires incomplete. Nearest player there was Richard LeCount. Ali was the receiver.
Look, it's obvious, right? Georgia is going to be able to run the football today. And that means for Kentucky, your offensive possessions are limited. So they got to get into a situation where they keep this close. They can't get into a game where they're trying to throw from behind. So a 3rd and 4 here is absolutely huge. See if they trust Gatewood to throw it.
And I wonder if they trust him to go for 4th and short. You know, maybe you only need 3 here.
And if that's the case, I'd expect a quarterback run to try to pick up 2 or 3.
Gatewood hands it off. And they go straight ahead and pick up 3. So here you go. A lot of times in college football these days with the analytics, we're going to go for it on 4th down anyway. Let's set up a 4th and 1. And sometimes those 3rd and 2 play calls, 3rd and 3, end up getting you the 1st down anyway.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer the way Georgia's running the football. And this is why you went to a quarterback that is the size and stature of Joey Gatewood. I fully expect this to be a run.
Freshman Michael Drennan in the slot for Kentucky. He hadn't played much this year. 4th and 2. Rodriguez picks up the 1st down, and the Kentucky drive will continue.
Again, Eddie Green does a great job of putting receivers out to the field to get a few less guys in the box for Georgia. And there's been a couple times that Joey Gatewood could keep that ball on those reads.
Julian Rochester is injured for Georgia. And with that, we'll have a stoppage of play. 8 minutes.
2 lined up right on that hash mark. He's one of the guys that went down, and he's been an important piece for that Georgia front. You see 16 coming in there as well. 2 guys going down for Georgia, but Rochester especially, with how much 12 personnel Kentucky likes to do to run the football, that was something Dan Lanning, their defensive coordinator, said we'll get Julian on the field a lot more to add some size.
So a scene out of the game, they flip it to Josh Ali, and he's able to pick up 8 yards on 1st down. LeCount with the stop. 2nd and 2 will be the 12th play of this Kentucky drive.
And this is one of those plays where, as an offensive coordinator, you really want to take a shot, right? You want to go play action, but I don't know if I'm Eddie Green, I do that. I think I keep this on the ground to ensure that we get yet another 1st down and try to get into the red zone.
Drive has lasted 6 minutes plus already. These 2 teams trading heavy blows here early. They do exactly that with Chris Rodriguez, and he picks up a Kentucky 1st down. This is the kind of game that would feel right at home if it was raining sideways on a grass field and everybody was all muddy.
Instead, we got blue skies and a lot of sun, and dry footballs, and we're still keeping it on the ground. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Both these teams having success with what they do, want to do, and do best. But you just feel like at some point Kentucky is going to have to hit something down the field, right? You feel like they're going to have to stretch Georgia. Otherwise, Georgia's going to keep stacking the line of scrimmage, stacking the box, and eventually slow that run game down.
They're going to load up on the right side this time. Gatewood is able to find his receiver. We get a flag on the play. It'll be a gain of 5 and the completion to Daly. Let's see if it stands. A lot of movement for Kentucky leading into that. Pardon me, Bryce Oliver with the catch. Matt Leffler is our white hat today. 2nd flag of the game.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 players in motion at the same time. That's a 5-yard penalty. 3-play 1st down.
Kentucky can't afford to go backwards. Mark Stoops' team heavy underdogs in this game. Tied with Bear Bryant with 33 home wins. It's the most in school history. A victory today would take him in front of the Bear. First and 15, Kentucky trying to get back on schedule. It's Rodriguez, the tailback. Pressure coming. Gatewood off his back foot. Look out with coverage on Ali.
And now if you're Eddie Gran, you start to feel what your quarterback can do, right? He's had success throwing some of the short game, a few of those. They've tried to take now 2 shots in the last 4 plays. Gatewood did a great job on the first one of checking the ball down. That time forces a throw downfield. Some point you're going to have to find out if you can go hard play action, get the linebackers to suck up, and hit the middle of the field right behind them.
I heard that from a spoon this morning on SEC Nation.
It's amazing what dads will force their kids to do.
Here's the tight end, Keaton Upshaw, and he rumbles to the 24. It's a pickup of 10. So 3rd and about 5. Where does Eddie Gran go from a play calling perspective now?
Well, I think you have to put it in the air, right? Unless we're at that point where you feel like you're going to go for it on 4th, but in field goal range or close to it, I don't think that's quite the option. So I think, again, you go back to what can Joey Gatewood do well through the air. If it were me, I'd spread out your receivers a little bit, give them slants on one side, and maybe a pick play or something on the other side. Give them a few quick options to get rid of the football. They're going to motion him out of the backfield and go Wildcat.
Here we go, 15th play of the drive. Georgia expected some Wildcat today. Rodriguez takes it to the 20 and passed it. First down, Kentucky, and the drive continues. He batters his way to a gain of 9.
Huge and a great call. First time we've seen this. Something Kentucky loves to do, motion the quarterback out so that Georgia can't get in their Wildcat check, right? Every defense has a check for Wildcat. If you line up in it, the defense can get to the gaps and load the box the way they want to. But if you have the quarterback there first and then you motion him, now you catch him off guard. Great play design by Eddie Gran to pick up a first down.
This is a drive that started at Kentucky's 7-yard line. 15 plays and 78 yards later, they stand at the 15 with a fresh set of downs. Lead play for Gatewood, and they never got any clearance, and Gatewood thrown down by Devontae Wyatt and company. Second and 9. Eddie Gran in Kentucky picked up Joey Gatewood after he lost his starting quarterback job to Bo Nix at Auburn. Nix last year won that job in Auburn, in August, I should say. Gatewood stuck around for about half the season before leaving and showed up in Lexington for the 2nd semester. Granted eligibility for this year on September 30th. That was right after Kentucky went down and played on the Plains and lost at Auburn. Timeout, Kentucky, 3:38 to go in the second quarter. 7-0 Georgia. Julian Rochester from McEachern High School, Mableton, Georgia, being helped back to the Georgia locker room. Same play he was injured. Lewis Seen went down with a left ankle injury. Seen getting the ankle retaped, but still not back on the field.
And Rochester would be a big loss there. Kentucky's found some success between the tackles, as good as Jordan Davis is down there. Dan Lanning really wanted an extra big body, 300-pound guy, and Julian Rochester was having a good game up to that point.
Both teams have been run heavy in this one. To this point, Georgia has only had 2 possessions, a touchdown and a punt on 4th and 1 from midfield. Gatewood to throw on 2nd and 10. Now he's trying to run with it, and he has nowhere to go. Brought down for a loss of 2. Travon Walker in on the stop.
I imagine that's one of the conversations Eddie Gran had with his young quarterback making his first start against possibly the country's best defense, right? If it's not there, especially in the red zone, don't force it. Tuck it, run it, get back to the line of scrimmage, get 1 or 2. We'll dial something up again. on third down. Watch these pass rushers for Georgia, though, coming off the edge here. The end of the line of scrimmage at the bottom of your screen.
Safety's cheating up on 3rd and 11. They're both within 2 yards. Gatewood gets rid of it. Incomplete. Never had a shot. Good coverage on the back end by Tyson Campbell. Talking with Kirby Smart yesterday. He was raving about his defensive backs on the edge.
And this is just a straight cover 0. Let's bring these safeties down. We know they don't have enough to block. Make him get rid of the ball quickly, and that route on the outside was not designed for a quick throw. That's an over-the-top type of route, so no option for Joey Gatewood. A great play call by Dan Lanning to bring pressure and force a field goal.
34-yard attempt for Matt Ruffalo. 4-5 on the season. And that will cap a drive that took 9 minutes and 34 seconds off the clock. Drive started at the 7. Kentucky has to settle for 3 in a low-scoring first half in Lexington. PB, appreciate the concern. Got the hamster back on the wheel, but had to do a road game from Shea Capo out in Marietta today for this one. Time of possession's been a story for Kentucky. Last week against Missouri, they only held it for 16 minutes. Yep, update that. 18 minutes already in this first half. In fact, if you're an underdog and you want to shorten the game, they did it on their last drive, which lasted 10.5 minutes, which is 17% of the total game time. That's excluding perhaps extra play today.
That's the recipe, right? Mark Stoops, defensive coach. He wants to control the football game. Maybe that was Eddie Grand there, but this is the most important drive here of the entire game for Kentucky's defense.
Stetson Bennett's got the ball in his hand. Finally gets rid of it, and they got plenty of room on the sideline. James Cook got in front of everybody, including the football, and it goes for 45 yards.
And that's exactly what can't happen if you're Kentucky, right? I mean, this is a game where you're only going to get a few possessions. You started with the football, so Georgia's going to get it after half. It's so important to hold them to a field goal at minimum, but a great misdirection play there by Georgia to leak out James Cook to the backside.
You said it was the most important possession of the game. Here's Zamir White now, and he takes it all the way to the double strike line with a pickup of 9. Jamari Sawyer and Justin Schaefer both on the move to clear the way for Zeus.
Tempo's been an issue for Kentucky. Look at them trying to get a line. Georgia's almost ready to snap the football.
Which is really interesting. We had this discussion on one of our calls this week, guys, and Cole and Jordan, you both mentioned it. Cole, I'll start with you. You hear defensive coordinators all the time say, I just got to get our guys lined up. We'll talk about that after we step away. Or do we? 2:06 to go. No timeout, so we stay here. Second and 1.
Was short of the line to gain. It's second down.
But Cole, it sounds simple. Just get your guys lined up.
Absolutely, and it's one of the biggest challenges for defensive coordinators facing today's football. You get overloads, you get different formations with movement, be it motion, be it trades, flips before the snap, during, while the ball's being snapped. And as long as you get lined up okay, you should be fine with effort, knowing what your assignment is. But you don't get lined up, you don't have a chance.
Just over 60 minutes into this game. We got under 2 minutes to go in the half. Zamir White, fantastic vision, and he's able to rip off 10.
Oh, man, Kentucky's got to get a little more urgency to get lined up here and get ready.
Stetson Bennett looking to set up the wide receiver screen. It's batted up, and it's intercepted. Phil Hoskins, you laid it out early. The 6'5" Hoskins got his hands on it and took it away to snuff this Georgia drive.
And it happened last week against Alabama. Early in the game, a tipped ball turns into an interception, and when Kentucky needed it most, they needed a stop. Watch this. We talked about a 5'11" quarterback with a 3-quarter release. You got to just get your hand up. And Phil Hoskins, who's banged up, not able to be out there every single down, does a great job of mirroring the football, getting his hand up, and picking it off and giving Kentucky life at the end of this first half.
There's been a jersey change.
10th pick for this Kentucky defense, tied with Arkansas for the national lead. Gatewood on a quarterback draw. No gain. Devontae White with a stop. Kentucky on their previous possession had a 19-play drive, their longest since a 23-play drive against South Carolina in 2004.
And I expect some conservative play calls right here from Eddie Graham. You just had a huge momentum moment. The last thing you want to do is lose that, right? Especially with Georgia starting with the football. So you see they're letting time tick off even though they have 2 timeouts. They want to take this thing down and keep that momentum going into half.
Here's Rodriguez, and he spins free. That's set up 3rd and about 5. Ask Kirby Smart what the biggest difference is he's seen from Stetson Bennett this season as a starter versus being the number 2. And Jordan, he put it pretty succinctly. He said this is a guy playing with a lot of confidence right now. So to play it forward, I got to ask the question, after 3 picks last week and a pick at the end of the half this week, how does that impact the quarterback's confidence?
I don't think it does, honestly. I mean, in the back of your mind a little bit, but if you really studied the interceptions at Alabama, it was circumstantial in the game. They're trying to come back. I mean, he played really clean up through that really 3rd quarter. The first one obviously was the batted ball. You can't do anything about that as a quarterback, right? That's part play call, that's part luck. So I got no indication, speaking with Stetson Bennett this week, that he lacked any ounce of confidence. I mean, this kid is dripping with confidence, so I think it's not going to faze him as much as maybe another quarterback. I mean, he's been underlooked or overlooked his entire career. He's used to people saying that. He's got a great confidence. Go ahead, yeah.
It was a really fun conversation, and I think the highlight was when Cole asked him, what part of your game do you think is underrated? And he said, underrated? None of my game is rated. Came out of high school as a 2-star recruit. Scout team quarterback for the national championship playing squad in 2017. Year at junior college and then back to Athens. 30 seconds left in the half. Play clock almost expired on Kentucky coming out of the timeout. Gatewood taken down in the backfield. Jermaine Johnson with the sack. Georgia's got a timeout left. It's a loss of 7.
Final timeout. Georgia. 30 seconds in duration.
I was actually surprised they dialed up a pass play here. But Gatewood does a good job here of not forcing it, right? That's the last thing you want to do here before the half. Backed up is force a throw. Just eat it, which he does. Punt it away. Try to get to half with the momentum from that interception by Phil Hoskins. But again, I mean, well, you'll watch it in every passing situation. These Georgia defensive ends are incredibly talented, 4 or 5 deep. Kentucky's got their hands full in passing situations.
So it's a big punt now for Max Duffy with 25 seconds left in the half. And Cats looking at a 4th and 12. Mentioned that he played Australian rules football as a professional, eligible to play in the NCAA, and transferred over because it's, well, not the same sport. Reigning Ray Guy Award winner. This guy has a lot of different deliveries. He can get the ball off of his foot to avoid oncoming rushers. And he'll slice this one down the field, go cross field, taken at the 39-yard line. Karis Jackson with a fair catch. Duffy will hit the sideline, a 38-yard punt. 18 seconds left. What can Stetson Bennett do here?
I think they're just going to hand it off, right? I mean, you got no timeouts. I'd expect a handoff or a screen. Again, you just want to see if you can break a big play and then run it down and kill the clock if you had to, but I just don't see that happening. I see an easy handoff or a screen here and get to second half, make some corrections, and get the ball to start.
Bennett to the air. Here's Karis Jackson to the sideline, and a gain of 9, and the clock will stop. Georgia out of timeouts, 11 seconds left.
And see, that's why you run a screen, right? If it's unsuccessful, great, you go to half. If you pick up 10 or 15, now you're at midfield. Now you can work the sideline with a throw and try to pick up 12 to 15 more and have a chance for a long field goal.
After a closer look, they say first down, Georgia. Jermaine Burton will line up outside, top of your screen, number 7, the talented freshman by way of California
I think
from
that's
Atlanta.
where they go, right? You need a quick out. You need something to the boundary.
Bennett looking for 7. And he comes back for it. It'll be a first down. He is inbounds, but it'll stop the clock for the moment to set the chain. They want to clock it here. They did not say it was a first down. And Bennett will clock it with 3 seconds left. It'll leave 1 tick remaining.
And a masterful job here by Stetson Bennett. I can't believe there wasn't tighter coverage on that boundary on Jermaine Burton. Like, you know that's where they're going to go. They don't have time to throw it to the field. They're going to work the boundary. And just too much cushion on the outside. That's way too much cushion.
Boy, if you're Burton, you really got to get out of bounds there, don't you?
Yeah, have to.
Able to clock it, so no harm, no foul. And we'll get a whistle before the snap.
Second charge timeout, Kentucky. 30 seconds in duration.
Well, we have a break in the action. Let's throw it to Laura Rutledge and our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Last play of the half coming up for Georgia. 1 second remaining for Stetson Bennett. Bennett 4 of 7 for 74 yards and a pick today.
It's going to be a shot to the end zone.
Does he have the arm strength? Get it there?
Actually, it's not the typical set you'd come out in if you were going to take a shot. So
Kentucky has 3 safeties deep, all inside the 5-yard line. And Kentucky jump.
They got a free play. Now you want to throw it up.
Bennett will launch it to the end zone. It is bobbled. And Georgia says touchdown. Georgia came out of there with it. Incomplete, off the turf. Darnell Washington, Big O.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Offside on the defense, number 13. That's a 5-yard penalty. We'll have 1 on time down. That'll be second down.
J.J. Weaver's jump costs him a play and 5 yards. You could have a 53, 54-yard field goal from here if you want to try it. Or do you keep the offense on the field?
This is who you want to get the ball to here. Darnell Washington, 6'7" down there. But yeah, it just gets bounced around a little bit. Hard to tell. But big penalty because now you get a field goal chance.
But Lesney's long is 51. Hit a 50-yarder against Bama. A 53-yard attempt for sophomore Jack Lesney. Bad snap, bad hold, and he couldn't get it away clean. It came in low to Jake Camarda. Kentucky will scoop it up, have a chance to grab the sideline. And the return man taken down after the block kick. Jordan Wright had a chance.
That's a low snap. I used to be a holder. This is your nightmare. You don't want it low down the middle. It's tough to get the ball back up right. It's tough to get a grip on it.
Special teams mistake for Georgia. Bad snap, couldn't get the hold down. We got a heavyweight battle here. A couple of beasts of the East. Georgia leads 7-3. Let's get you back to the studio for the Farm Rich halftime report. Back to SEC Network Football, presented by Allstate. Kroger Field, Lexington, Kentucky, in a low-scoring battle, 7-3. The 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs lead Kentucky as we get set to start the second half. Tom Hart with Jordan Rogers. The quarterback's almost taken out of this game in many ways in the first half because teams have leaned on their running game. 61 total plays, 44 of them on the ground. How do you handicap the quarterback play?
Well, both of these teams wanted to run the football, so if you look at Joey Gatewood, I think he's going to have done a good job of making smart decisions, and a lot of those have been not throwing the football. When there has been coverage and tucking it and keeping it on the ground, he's made great decisions. And then for Stetson Bennett, once again, 2 weeks in a row, a tip ball for an interception. That's the biggest play of the game so far for Kentucky. It took points off the board and gave them momentum. This is exactly the game plan Kentucky wanted for today.
Let's take a look back at that tip pass as part of our closer look at our protection spotlight, brought to you by Allstate.
Again, it's a screenplay, and Stetson Bennett being 5'11" and having a three-quarter release just doesn't get that ball high enough. And as a quarterback, you're taught, find the lane, right? If you got to move, step, find a lane to throw it. You don't want to throw it over guys, especially on screenplays. So that's another reoccurring theme that we're seeing. And if you're Kentucky at halftime, I guarantee Stoops and Brad White mentioned, continue to get those hands up. We're going to get another one.
Saw the numbers for Bennett, 4 of 7 for 74 yards in that pick. Zamir White had a productive first half, starts the second half on the same foot. Marquand McCall in on the stop for Kentucky.
Let's see if Georgia goes back to that tempo. Right? I thought that was the best thing they did in the first half. Kentucky is big up front. We know that. They're also thin and injured up front. They're banged up. So Georgia did a good job of using tempo to keep Kentucky off guard and not let them get lined up. Didn't use it on this play, but at some point they'll go back to it.
Here's Zamir White again. Jamin Davis a stop, a first down carry for White. 2 plays, 11 yards. Pretty good rate. White leaves, replaced by the freshman Kendall Milton in the backfield. Play action. Bennett. Downfield, man coverage. Juggling catch made by Darnell Washington. The freshman from Vegas hauls it in for a gain of 32.
And this is a great throw here by Stetson Bennett. They go play action. They want to take a deep shot in pressure. Does a great job of throwing a jump ball almost, except for it was right out in front. And that's Darnell Washington. You want to throw that ball high. The last thing you want to do is overthrow a guy that's 6'7", and under pressure, Stetson Bennett delivers a strike.
Back to the running game now. That's Milton. And he takes it for a gain of 5. Cole, you caught up with Mark Stoops out of the locker room. What do you have to say?
Yeah, very interesting on that play to Washington there. He said tight end into the boundary is actually giving our defense some problems. Need to make proper adjustments to that in the second half. Otherwise, feels pretty good. I asked him about Joey Gatewood. He said, hey, Cole, that's a pretty good defense, man. Feel pretty good about the way that he played in the first half.
Yeah, not an easy task for Joey Gatewood to go against one of the best defenses in the country. But he's kept Kentucky in it. Opening drive, second half, it's Milton again. And Milton squeezes through for 3. Third down 2.
And Kentucky gets bigger up front. They get brought back in Marquand McCall. 380-pound defensive lineman there, expecting a short run.
Right over the top of Trey Hill. They're trying to run behind Hill. And Zamir White stopped for a gain of 1. He needed to. Josh Paschal wearing Chris Oates' number 22. In on the stop for Kentucky, and a big one.
Boy, it's such a good play there by Josh Paschal. He gets inside. His little swing move inside, sometimes that's dangerous. Got a chance to lose contain, but there it gets penetration. And now on 4th down, Georgia's going to roll the dice.
Georgia 2 of 5 on 4th down this season. White's the tailback. Needs 1. Got plenty. Zamir White straight ahead. Touchdown, Georgia. Needed 1, got 6 on a 22-yard sprint.
And unfortunately for Kentucky, you see this more often than not, sometimes for long runs on 4th downs, right? You're so concerned about getting disruption, getting through a gap. Look at this. You overplay by the linebackers and you miss the cutback lane. And also there on that one, backside contain got lost with Stetson Bennett, right? He's had a couple good runs today. So that backside safety's got to respect Stetson Bennett, and that opens up that cutback lane for the touchdown.
Snap and hold are good that time, but Lesney bangs through the point after. Trey McKinney able to clear the way for Zamir White. And the Laurinburg, North Carolina native stayed on his feet and took it in from 22 yards out. Georgia adds to its lead. Now the Bulldogs lead Kentucky 14-3. 4.5 minutes into the second half. Huge possession coming up here for Kentucky if they want to stay in this game. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik. Beautiful day for football in Lexington. No return. And it seems like no return to the game for two key defensive pieces for Georgia. Julian Rochester wearing a jacket over his pants. The senior defensive lineman is out for the remainder of this game. And Jordan Davis has his arm in a sling. Not likely to return either. That's a lot of beef they're missing up the middle.
Yeah, we know how good Jordan Davis is, right? I mean, he's one of the best in the country up front. But Dan Lanning, again, mentioned Julian Rochester on how important he was to this game because of how Kentucky utilizes their tight ends in the run game. As you see, tight end out there, 2 tight ends out there for Kentucky. This is what Dan Lanning was worried about. He said in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends and 1 running back, as Kentucky's in right now, we need to get bigger, and that was Julian Rochester. Now you got a true freshman, Jalen Carter, out there, number 88 in his spot.
Carter, two-way player, will also line up at some fullback and tight end. A little misdirection for Kentucky, and Chris Rodriguez maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. We expected Eddie Grand to get a little exotic here for Kentucky at some point in this game, dialing up some stuff that Georgia hasn't yet seen. Have you seen anything different, Jordan?
I haven't seen anything crazy exotic, right? We've seen 2 tight ends, and they like using these tight ends here, like at the bottom of your screen. There's just 1 in the game now, but they've been putting them to one side and seeing how Georgia adjusts.
Right side pulls, they clear the way for Chris Rodriguez. A shoulder duck in, and he's almost to midfield with a 23-yard gain.
But one thing I do see that is very different this week that I haven't seen a ton of is Josh Ali running these rocket motions. You see on this one right here, he rocket motions right in front of the quarterback, and that steals eyes, right? Linebackers then are going to overcorrect in that direction, and that's what opens up the cutback there for Chris Rodriguez.
Luke Fortner with a bear hug to clear the space on the edge. 83 yards and 6.5 a carry for Rodriguez so far. Georgia showing pressure. And I think when you talk about Kentucky being exotic or dialing up something different, fans immediately think, oh, we're going to run some trick plays. That's not the case. Eddie Grant is just trying to put something different on film that Dan Lanning hasn't seen, and it might be very slight, that difference.
Yeah, just something to make them communicate, right? I mean, Dan Lanning mentioned communication was one of our biggest issues against Alabama because of all they did with formations, with motions. That was a big point of emphasis on their time off. And that's what good offensive coordinators want to do. They want to make a defense think and move before the snap.
On the read, Rodriguez takes it over the right side. 5 yards there to set up 3rd and about 4. Nakobe Dean, the stop for Georgia.
And Dean, speaking of communications, is really that linebacker that communicates across the board for those formations and the eye candy. And now you see Quay Walker, linebacker, playing a lot in the place of Monty Rice, who's banged up.
So Georgia's defense taking some hits from a health perspective. Davis out, Rochester out. Now Quay Walker, middle linebacker, is down. scary moment. Good result. Quay Walker able to walk off the field for Georgia. The Cordele, Georgia native, helped out by David Jack, associate athletic trainer. Watch top of your screen. Friendly fire got him in on the tackle, and then Richard LeCount comes in and bent the neck back, sent Walker down, and he was down on the turf for a good bit of time. So coming off of the injury timeout, Kentucky has a 3rd and 4. Trying to answer Georgia's touchdown drive with one of their own. Trips to the left for Joey Gatewood with Chris Rodriguez in the backfield.
Watch a rocket motion here.
Georgia brings a safety. Gatewood complete. Daly crawls his way for a 1st down, and they convert the 3rd.
A little motion there by Allen Daly from one side of the formation to the other. That's how you create mismatches, right? We say it time and time again, communication, right? Make a safety change his responsibility that he thought he had pre-snap, and now change it right before the snap, and that's how you steal yards. What a great play design and call there by Eddie Gran, who's managed his quarterback, who's making his first start of his career against the best defense in college football. He's managed his throws extremely well, especially on 3rd down.
9th tackle of the game for LeCount. Kavashe Smoke now in a tailback for Kentucky. Gatewood pulls it, and they've got the edge set. Nowhere to go. Aziz Ojulari with the stop, along with Tyson Campbell.
Well, Tom, to add to Jordan Davis, Julian Rochester, Quay Walker going out here, not returning in the 2nd half. Also, Lewis Seen, the safety for Georgia, is back out and in pads in the 2nd half. I have not seen him retrieve his helmet yet. He had his shoe taken off in the 1st half, had his left ankle retaped. Looks doubtful that he's going to return this afternoon.
Well, this Georgia defense trying to flex its depth. There's Seen. On 2nd and 10, Rodriguez. No, it's Gatewood who keeps it up the middle. And the ball came out. Georgia came out of there. We'll see if he was down. It was LeCount.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Georgia. 1st down.
Richard LeCount, the takeaway, the senior from Riceboro, Georgia, takes the ball away for the Dogs.
And you're going to see it as Joey Gatewood is going down. All good DBs, all good defensive players go for that ball. It does look like it was ripped out. Here's a better shot at it. Can't tell there, but sure looked like that ball was out.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Georgia. The previous play is under further review.
A lot of bodies in there. It's tough to tell when and where that ball comes out from these angles. Again, important to note then that it was called a fumble on the field. It's Monty Rice right there.
Yeah, the ball was out as Gatewood was going down backwards. Remember, a runner is down when anything besides the bottom of his foot or his hand is on the ground.
Boy, I mean, it's just tough to tell even where the football is.
From this angle, you have to make a couple presumptions. The ball is out. It's near Monty Rice's left hand at that point. And there it is, recovered by Georgia.
After video review, the ruling on the field stands. 1st down, Georgia.
And you mentioned it, ruled a fumble on the field. No reason to overturn it. And Stetson Bennett and the Georgia offense get the ball back midway through the 3rd quarter, up 11.
I'd like to see this Georgia offense get going through the air. I know they haven't needed to very much, but if you're a Georgia fan, it's one thing you've been watching, especially since Alabama. How effective can they be through the air?
Here's James Cook to the outside. Georgia, with the win today, will have a chance to move up in the polls if BC can hold on. At the half on ABC, Boston College leads #1 Clemson 28-13. And so there'll be a major reshuffling going on should Clemson fall.
How about that? No Trevor Lawrence. He's obviously out, tested positive for COVID on Wednesday. They're hoping to have him back by next week at Notre Dame, and everybody thought that was the big issue. Well, they got an issue right now.
Here's Cook again. It would be the second time in the last few years that Clemson has lost with its backup quarterback. Remember their trip to the Carrier Dome in Syracuse a couple of years ago?
That's right. And again, those are things that the committee at the end of the season do take into account.
Room for Kieris Jackson. And he picks up a Georgia first down.
First time we really
got a
took
flag on the play.
Jackson today, but he's been their best receiver. He's got an incredible mix of athleticism. He's a crisp and pure route runner.
Holding on the offense. Number 14. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, third down.
First flag against Georgia in this one. Third and 6 for Georgia. Bennett gets rid of it quickly to Jackson. Wide receiver screen, and Jackson takes it to the 49 and a first down for the Dogs.
Man, this just can't happen, right? I mean, you're playing with eyes, you're playing with everything in front of you. Kentucky, they bring pressure here to try to disrupt. You got to be able to get off of a block and get that Georgia wide receiver down. Again, Kieris Jackson. That time, Bennett did a good job of finding that passing window, right? They were trying to bat that ball down again on the outside. That time, found a passing window, and it paid off.
Straight ahead, the Kentucky defense stops Kendall Milton for no gain.
And Kentucky's playing well in the box right now. I mean, the first half, Georgia had their way. It seemed on every run play, they were getting 3-4 yards of push between the tackles. Kentucky has bowed up in that area. You saw Phil Hoskins there. He's one of the reasons. Playing despite being banged up. And Georgia's going to have to find out how to push the ball to the perimeter intermediately with Stetson Bennett.
Four-man rush. Bennett pulls it back. Now he unloads. And he's intercepted. Calvin Joseph with the pick. And it's another takeaway for Kentucky. Interception number 11 on the season for these Cats.
Looked like there was some miscommunication. Stetson pumped this one. And again, you got a true freshman out there, Marcus Rosemy-Jackson. And I think Stetson thought he was going to keep running. Look at this, throws it up. And, receiver, you got to keep going, right? The moment a receiver, especially a young receiver, turns to look at the quarterback, you start to slow your feet down. You can't do that. You got to keep running on your line, especially if that play is breaking down, but the quarterback's still in the pocket. And Kelvin Joseph, the former LSU transfer, he's had an up-and-down year. But that's one thing he's done extremely well. Now his third interception on the year. One of them he turned into 6 against Tennessee. And a huge play for Kentucky.
Goes by the rap name of Boss Man Fat. And that's his third pick of the season. Kentucky now leading the nation in interceptions. Rodriguez with the gain of 9. 10th tackle for Richard LeCow.
Is that a fat, like a PH? Or
not the spelling, but I think we all understand it to be. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're spelling in a way in which people like you and me have to guess how they're spelling it.
All right, Kentucky. Big drive. I mean, and again, in a game like this, your possessions are limited. And you're down 2 scores. Got to flip field position here. Coming back to this play they ran on third down, yeah.
Rodriguez sneaks his way through. We'll see if he got it. Spot looks good from the dining room. How do you see it?
Yeah, it looks like he made it. Getting a close look there. Yeah.
There you go.
Same play they ran earlier in the game on a 3rd down to pick up. Love that little wrinkle to the Wildcat. You don't let the defense get into their Wildcat check. Again, Kentucky hasn't been able to get anything going downfield. It's not easy against Georgia unless your name's Mac Jones and Jalen Waddle when he was healthy and Devontae Smith, but everybody else has a tough time getting the ball downfield against Georgia. If there's a guy that's going to do it, it's number 6, Josh Ali for Kentucky.
Top 20 defense, top 5 against the run. Gatewood pulls it back, pressure on him now. He's got to scramble. Gatewood's going to tuck it and tries to move back inside where he takes it inside the 30. A long run to pick up 5.
Georgia dials up pressure again. A couple times already this game they've brought safety pressure. That's a tough one for a young quarterback to see coming. Again, I've said it before. Gatewood, one of the best things you can do when you're pressured is not force the ball. It's a couple times he's tucked it, used his legs, hasn't picked up a ton of yards, but that's better than an errant throw, an interception.
Here's A.J. Rose. You're talking about Kentucky trying to be explosive. If Georgia has a vulnerability defensively, I know you mentioned all the Alabama guys, but Georgia's defense has only given up 26 explosive plays this year. 25 of them have been passes. That was coming into the game. They've given up now 2 total runs over 12 yards. One of them, a Chris Rodriguez run early in this game.
Yeah, and some of the big plays they've given up through the air have just been 50-50 balls, right? Trey Palmer for Tennessee came down with a few of them on the outside in a matchup that you think Georgia would win. It's just Kentucky doesn't right now have a guy outside of Josh Ali that's winning those man-to-man matchups and 50-50 balls on the outside.
3rd down 4, rush coming, set up the screen. Here's DeMarcus Harris, and he's able to pick up a 1st down with a gain of 9. I think the other thing is they have some young wide receivers that they'd love to try on 50-50 balls. With the game shortened, every play matters. The value per possession goes through the roof. You can't just roll the dice on an unproven play.
Yeah, and I remember saying it earlier, like, there's been a couple times where as an offensive coordinator and me sitting here watching, I feel like, okay, now's the time for a shot. But you're right. Do you have the liberty or the luxury of taking a shot just to take one? Right now in this game, you don't. But they're going to need to at some point.
Pulls it back. Going to his tight end, Justin Rigg. And Rigg finds 2. Yeah, because if they don't, they're going to simply run out of time.
Yeah, in a normal game, right? In a normal game, you're thinking, yeah, we got at least 3 more possessions, right? It ticking down towards the 4th quarter. You have one now, and you expect at least 2 in the 4th quarter. But in this game, you might only get it 1 more time, right? So they got to take a shot at some point.
From their 44, Rodriguez ducks his shoulder and then gets plowed over at the 45. Kobe Dean with the stop, sophomore linebacker from Mississippi.
I think the other part of that, too, is not only do you run out of time, you run out of grass. If you don't at least show that you're going to take it, defense is just going to continue to creep up. And they don't have to show that. They can do it after the football snap. And they can take away perimeter runs. They can take away screens. They can take away quick throws.
Let's see if Georgia dials up another pressure, right? 3rd and passing situation so far, they've brought pressure a number of times. You see the top of your screen, here's a few guys creeping like they're going to bring pressure on the right side of that Kentucky offensive line.
On 3rd and 7, Gatewood against pressure, incomplete, just a bit out of the reach of DeMarcus Harris, who was stumbling.
And Georgia showed pressure and dropped everybody back, expecting a throw like that to come out of Joey Gatewood's hands quickly. Just a little too far out in front.
Max Duffy on to punt it away and a 4th and 7. Given the tempo of this game, you agree with the idea to punt?
On 4th and 7, I think you have to. right? I mean, on this side, in your own territory, if you pick up 3 or 4 there, you might think about it.
Karis Jackson asks for a fair catch. He takes it inside the 10. 45-yard punt into the third quarter.
That's the end of the
Be up
third
to the
quarter.
Kentucky defense to try to put a stop together and get the ball back from Georgia. Stetson Bennett has continued his trend. A couple of turnovers today with interceptions. One on a screen pass, one on a deep ball. And they've got it at their own 9 with Zamir White at tailback. And White has been fantastic. Let's take a look at the second interception.
And I mentioned it, you got a true freshman receiver working on the outside of the top of your screen here. One thing you tend to do as a young receiver is when you turn your head back to the quarterback, you slow down your feet. You can't do that. The only time you stop your route is if a quarterback is outside the pocket scrambling. So look, there's been a lot of times Stetson should have thrown an interception and didn't. Against Tennessee, there were a lot of bad decisions that didn't result in interceptions. And there's been some where he shouldn't. But still, you're evaluated at the quarterback position by scoring points and protecting the football. And right now, he's not protecting the football to the standard that Georgia needs.
Zamir White over 100 yards. Into the fourth quarter with Georgia leading Kentucky. Big number 0, Darnell Washington at tight end along with Fitzpatrick. And they're leading the way for White. So you look at Bennett's production and a Georgia team whose goal is the national championship. And there are people wondering about the depth chart. Cole asked Kirby Smart before the game. He said, this is Stetson Bennett. He is our starter. Juwan Mathis is the number 2. JT Daniels, a transfer from USC, is the 3rd string quarterback. Here's Milton. And I understand this is a game that Georgia is leading. They're up 14-3. But given the turnovers, do Kirby Smart and Todd Monken revisit Stetson Bennett as the starting quarterback?
I think right now in game you don't. But at some point you got to understand we can win a lot of these games because our defense is so talented. But the games that we can't win are Alabama, right? You got to score 40 points. That offense is that good. Florida might be the same situation. How many points are you going to need to put up to slow down or to beat Florida because their offense is talented as well. So they need more out of the position. They do.
On 3rd and 6. Fantastic move by James Cook. And he's able to fight his way towards the marker. And we'll see where the spot is.
And another screenplay. Thrown short on 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. Going for what looks like might be a first down. They're going to measure this one. I thought he might have got a little bit of a short spot there.
Mask can't hide Kirby's emotions. Short by half a football. So on 4th and 1, Georgia will punt it away.
The ruling on the field was the runner was short of the line to gain. The previous play is under further review.
Just to my naked eye, I thought it looked a little short, but let's see here. Does he land on a defender? When does that knee's down right there?
And where's the ball when the knee was down?
Yeah, knee came down sooner than I thought, so just need to see exactly where that ball was. It'll be tough to tell here in relation to the first down. You can see that knee comes down pretty quick. This might be our best look here. See if we can slow it down right. Bam. Man, I feel like that was a pretty good spot. I don't know if you see something there. Look at where the ref, see where the ref starts walking out. He didn't take a step back. I feel like he had that pretty on. What do you think, Tom? You a bet man?
I'm not sure I'm supposed to answer that question honestly right now. Hey, let's change the subject. We've got Matt Austin, our rules official. Matt.
It was a first down for Georgia. The ball's placed at the 31.5-yard line. First down.
Matt, I still want to bring you in. What do they look for in a review like this, and how do you determine exactly where the spot should be?
Well, it's where is the ball at the time the knee touches the ground in this case. And from the first view, there were some bodies in the way, but it looked like he had the ball almost right between the official's legs. When the official came in, it looked like he spotted it off his upfield foot, making it a little bit short. So I agree with this overturn.
And it's a big one. Thanks, Matt. Great to have you along today. 1st and 10 for Stetson Bennett in this Georgia offense. And Zamir White again.
Man, I don't know, Tom. It's just, to me, because it was called short, I didn't see an angle that you could have said that absolutely is past the first down marker, because we didn't have an angle straight down the line.
Good point. So I think Matt was right in that it looked like the lead foot was a bit of a bad spot.
Right.
And if you remember, it was only half a football short. So you move it up a little bit, it only needs to be the nose of the football to pick up the first down.
Right.
Here's Zamir White. And he finds room. And make no mistake about it, that was a huge call and a big reversal after the Kentucky punt on 4th and 7. Georgia was getting ready to punt it back. Needs to get past the 31.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so close. That's why I don't know. I didn't see enough to tell me that you could say absolutely we're moving the ball this much, right? Whether it's 6 inches, whether it's a full yard. But again, I'm not wearing stripes. I'm just standing in my office right now, so.
It's fair. You are standing. White with a career day on the ground. Here's James Cook. Speaking of career days, let's get it back to Peter Burns.
All right, thank you, Tom Hart. Well, Boston College fans were pretty happy with their early lead, but DJ Uiagalelei, he shows he's got some wheels as well. Remember, he's playing in replacing Trevor Lawrence, who tested positive for COVID-19 earlier in the week. 28-20, 11 minutes left in the third.
IPB thanks everybody in college football keeping an eye on #1 Clemson. BC led 28-13 at the half. Here's Zamir White again, and big play in the backfield by Josh Paschal. He's wearing that number 22 for teammate Chris Oates, who suffered a medical condition this fall and was in a rehabilitation center for most of the last few months. He's attending the game today. He's with his mom and is in Kroger Field and was visited by his teammates, but confined to a wheelchair. So a different defender every week. Where's Oates' number 22?
That's Kears Jackson in the slot at the top of your screen there.
Bennett looking that way. Instead goes to the running back, and it's a pickup, 2 needing 7, as James Cook is immediately surrounded by blue shirts.
That's just a check down. Looks a little
4th
short.
and 5, offense stays on the field, and Kentucky's going to go down quickly with a cramp, and the Cats will try to set something up.
Timeout for an injury.
Marquez Bembry went down quickly. We'll take a break. Wayne Walker, Jordan Davis, Julian Rochester also already lost for the game, and Lewis Seen hasn't returned from his left ankle injury. Meanwhile, Marquez Bembry got iced up on the sideline, and he's trying to stretch out that cramp on his right hamstring. Georgia had the offense on the field to bring the punt team out now.
Yeah, those injuries, though, important obviously for this game because Kentucky's still got a chance to drive here and score and make this a one-score game. But also, Florida's next week. A lot of people, including myself, think that might decide the East. And this defense isn't at full strength, and they face Florida's offense.
Florida's got Missouri tonight. They could be out as many as 5 starters after a 3-week break. Kentucky's ball after this. Kentucky's average starting field position, their own 19, this time at the 10. Gatewood to throw. Slant little bit behind Josh Ali. And Jordan, I know as a quarterback, you hate to see slants behind the receiver.
Yeah, it's one of the things Eddie Gray had mentioned they repped over and over this week is getting the ball out quick. And every time he got the ball out, Eddie Gray would say, quicker, quicker, right? This slant's got to be out. It's got to hit him on his second step at the latest, right? So he has a chance to catch it, make a move, catch it on the run. That ball just about a step and a half too late.
First career start for Joey Gatewood, taking over for Terry Wilson out with an injury. We talked with wide receiver Josh Ali this week about Gatewood and his development as Rodriguez is stoned before he can get back to the line of scrimmage. Actually, they'll say gain 1. And Ali said he's still learning, but he's learning pretty fast, and he's picking up our playbook, which surprised Ali a little bit, given some of the complexities of the Kentucky playbook.
And listen, he wasn't able to get the type of reps a 2 would normally get because there was a while that his eligibility was up in the air. So Bo Allen got a lot of those as well. And of course, everyone expected Terry Wilson to come out and play well. What we saw in 2018 before he was injured in 19. So he's learning. He'll continue to get better. But man, they'd love for him to put together a drive right here.
Down 11, play clock down to 2 on 3rd and 1. Gatewood keeps it. And he's able to bend it outside after picking up the first down. Look out with another stop for Georgia.
And we got to pick up, Kentucky's got to pick up the urgency here, right? I mean, you need 2 more possessions. You have to. So I understand on 3rd down, making sure you're in the right play, but you need to snap this ball with 10, 15 seconds at the latest on the play clock. You got to snap it.
Pressure coming. He ducks out of 1. Gatewood throws on the run and incomplete. Lucky to avoid Aziz Ojulari, the 3rd-year sophomore out of Marietta, Georgia.
That's one of the reasons they like Gatewood. Physical, obviously. It's a couple times already this game that he's gotten out of a tackle or out of pressure, but again, you just notice the extra time he's taken to survey the field. So you got to get some plays in there that are what we call day 1 install plays. You don't have to think about it. Everyone lines up. They know their responsibilities in and out like the back of your hand so you can play quicker.
Georgia ball and
Gatewood to the outside, complete to Ali. I believe 3rd and 3. Go another zone read here for Kentucky on 3rd and 3.
Zone read, quarterback run. Obviously, again, time is of the essence, but you got to pick up a first down here. Zone read has been really good to them. So has that Wildcat been, but they're not going to come out Wildcat this time.
Six on the play clock. To throw. And that's complete. And we'll see if it's a first down. It's Allen Daly with the grab. He was right at the stick. Mark Webb stuck him. And no extra yardage. Kentucky hurrying up to the ball.
So much time and short pass plays, right? At some point, you got to push it down the field. At some point, you got to pick up the urgency.
It is a first down. That looked like the stop the clock.
Rolling on the field is a first down. The previous play is under further review.
How much of this tempo and this sense of urgency is the play calling getting into the quarterback and the quarterback installing the play? We'll let you stew on that one and answer the question when we return after this timeout. Daly needs to get this to the 35-yard line. He only makes it to the 34 as he comes back for the catch for Joey Gatewood. After review, officials announce instead of a first down, it'll be 4th and 1 for Kentucky. Jordan, what do they draw up here on 4th and 1?
Well, is it a full one? Is it a half a one? You know, I really need to see how close that ball was. If it's right on the 34, I don't know if I like the quarterback sneak. Let's see if he goes under center. If not, I think this is a quarterback run with your quarterback. He's 245 pounds. You got a lead blocker in the backfield.
Austin Dotson is the new right guard. Luke Fortner is not in the game right now for Kentucky. So you're back to your second string guy on the right side. See if that impacts which direction they go. Rodriguez will join the backfield. Fourth down 1. Here's Rodriguez. First down. And Kentucky can set it up with under 6 minutes to go. But then what you talked about, Jordan, there's got to be a sense of urgency to avoid the clock draining.
And that had to be the conversation right before that fourth down on the sideline is give your quarterback 2 plays, right? After we get this, Eddie Grant said, here's your next couple plays so we can get to the line of scrimmage fast and snap it fast. He's got to snap this ball. He's looking around too much. Got to snap the ball.
To a slant. Batted away. Incomplete.
Tom, you saw that game here,
Mark Webb. Yep.
I mentioned day 1 install plays, right? You got double slants to the field. As a quarterback, what are you looking at? You don't need to look at anything, right? You see there's 2 high safeties and 1 high safeties. Yep, snap it and go. You read that post-snap. Those plays are built to work against any defense, and you just read it out. Got to snap the ball quicker.
Game clock stopped after the incompletion. Pressure coming on Gatewood. Ojulari got him from behind, but he still got rid of it. Incomplete again. What a burst by Azeez Ojulari from the corner.
It's a great job of Gatewood feeling some pressure as he releases this one as well. You know, it's situational football. You got a quarterback making his first start against the best defense in the country. In these situational parts of the game, you just don't have enough reps in. Not enough reps for Eddie to understand what he's most comfortable with, what he can run the quickest. And you're seeing that in the clock management here down the stretch.
Screen to Rose. Got a block. Takes it to midfield. This is Josh Ali, excuse me. And Ali picks up the first down with 14 yards. And we got a flag on the play. They put Rose out there, and they're able to get a mismatch on Ali.
Holding on the offense, number 61.
And it's coming
That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul. Replay, 3rd down.
That's the backup right guard, Austin Dotson.
And that is a killer penalty here. Watch as he gets out in space.
That left arm hooked behind McCown.
Just no impact on the play, however. I mean, the ball's bouncing to the outside.
Yeah, man, there's not much there. It's not just because I'm friends with Cole, who's a former offensive lineman. I agree. It didn't look obvious to me or egregious or affect the play there.
Race off the ball!
All right, need chunk plays here. Need chunk plays here for Kentucky.
5 minutes to play. Pressure coming. They go to Rigg. And the tight end can't find those chunks. Tyreek Stevenson with the stop. Ball came out after he was down.
It's just evident that Eddie's not comfortable dialing up downfield shots for Joey Gatewood. And it's obvious that Gatewood's not comfortable seeing those right now. And what he's seeing pre-snap, because you have less than 5 minutes ticking here. You're down 2 scores. I mean, these dink and dunks aren't going to get you 2 touchdowns. So
hey, let's credit the Georgia.
You got to do it if you have it, and right now they don't have it.
Credit the Georgia secondary. Cover guys like Stokes and Campbell on the outside. Talking with Kirby last night, he was raving about the job his corners have done. Gatewood in traffic, almost picked, and a somersault to boot. That was Richard LeCount. Kirby also talked about LeCount. He said, this guy takes some chances. I never took chances when I played safety at Georgia. I wasn't athletic enough, but LeCount is. And this would have sealed it for Georgia.
He called him a risk-reward guy. This is a risk that almost was a big reward. Look at him just break all the way across the field on this ball. If it's caught, he's out of position, but instead he makes a great play, and Georgia on top.
Big one on deck for Georgia in a battle of wills. Will it be offense or defense? It comes out on top next week. Florida returning to action after 3 weeks off due to COVID-related issues. Reports that they're missing 3 defensive backs and a couple of offensive linemen in tonight's game against Missouri. But both head coaches at Florida and Missouri played it close to the vest this week. Stetson Bennett with the toss. Here's James Cook. And with 4 minutes to go in the game and Georgia up 11, Cook rips off a big one. Georgia top 20 in the country and points allowed per game. That number is going to go down after this one. And Florida's averaging better than 42 points a game. That's 10th best in the country. What gives?
Well, I think Florida's going to be able to put up points. The question is, can they do it in the same manner that Alabama did? I'm not sure, but to me, after watching this game, 14 points against Kentucky, and all respect to Kentucky's defense, they've played stellar at moments this year, but Georgia's got to be able to score more than 14 points against Kentucky, because they're going to be judged against Florida, who puts up points. They got to keep pace with that. Eventually, they'd love to have another opportunity at Alabama, which this type of offensive performance is not going to cut it against either of those teams, I think.
Meeting November 7th, next Saturday. Latest meeting on the calendar since 1990. .310 and rolling. If the score stays this way, there might be some folks nationally who look at this and go 14-3. Boy, Georgia really struggled. And I agree with your point that offensively they need more than this. But I also feel like Georgia had a firm grasp of this game for most of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right? I mean, the score is not indicative of how much Georgia has controlled this game. And they didn't need to try to be explosive, right? There weren't many opportunities that they even attempted to throw the football downfield because the run game was going so well in the first half. But eventually, they have to do that. They have to fix the turnovers. They got to figure out how to take Stetson Bennett, who is, as we've been told, their best option right now. And they need to make sure that he can be explosive in the pass game, and that their young receivers on the outside can raise their level of play with him, because they're going to need it.
You threw a clause on there that he's their best option right now, and I want to circle back to that. As they work clock here now, 2 minutes to play, and Zamir White will get another touch. Reading between the lines, the way the coaches spoke to us about the quarterback position, it's not just that Stetson Bennett is their best option right now, but it seems he has proven day in and day out to be their best option going forward.
First charge timeout, Kentucky.
1:53 remaining. Kentucky will stop the clock for the first time this half. Let's take a look at the smoothest play, brought to you by Velveeta. 4th and 1. Zamir White gave him 6.
Yeah, this was a dagger, and on 4th and short, sometimes you overcommit, too many guys down in the box, and one lane can turn into a big game. That's what it was. And Georgia really had their way on the ground most of the day. Despite the score, I know only 14 points, but they controlled the ground, controlled the clock, limited Kentucky's possessions.
It's a career high for Zamir White, who came in with all of the accolades. First carry in Pop Warner,
second charge,
he ran for a touchdown.
Kentucky.
First high school carry, he ran for a touchdown. At Skyline High School in Laurinburg, North Carolina, he was clocked at 4.4 and 10.5 in the 100 meters. But a torn ACL, first preseason with Georgia, coming off of a torn ACL in his right knee, finishing up his high school career, meant, especially with Georgia's backfield depth, that he was slow to become the featured back.
He's got some juice, man. He's got an incredible first step, especially as you mentioned after the injury. Sometimes that's something that you don't lose, but you take a step back. I think he's still got every bit of that burst, as you saw in that smoothest play we had there for the touchdown.
Georgia keeps the offense on the field with a 4th and 3. Looking to salt this one away. It's Zamir White again. And he's able to scoot forward. We'll see if he got it. Marquez Bembry in on the stop for Kentucky.
It's going to depend on that front foot, back foot spot again, I think.
Looked like he was stopped short. All right, so Kentucky gets the ball back. Down 2 scores.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1:43. 1:43. It'll be first down Kentucky. What's that? 1:45. Correction, 1:45.
All right, 1:45, and Kentucky's got 1 timeout remaining. Cole, when do they take a shot?
I would say here, but we haven't seen one yet today, so I don't know. I mean, it was mind-boggling the last 2 drives, not to at least just go down the field. For me, I don't care your comfort level. I don't care what you're good at, bad at, what you believe you can do, what the matchup is defensively. You just got to try and push the ball down the field.
Longest pass play, 11 yards.
First and 10 at 43.
Joey Gatewood facing a 4-man rush. And they find 2 yards in the passing game. They've got Bo Allen, true freshman from Lexington, who has a huge arm, sitting on the bench. He got 2nd string reps this week. And obviously the playbook would be limited for a freshman against a defense like this of Georgia.
Timeout for an injury. Timeout for an injury.
But there's going to be some second guessing after this game. Why don't you try to stretch the defense with a guy with an arm like that? 4-star recruit, 13th ranked pro-style quarterback in the country out of Lexington Catholic.
Yeah, they got to evaluate just what they want to be on offense, right? I mean, they have a really good run game without necessarily leaning on all the quarterback runs. So that piece that they need is being just somewhat consistent through the air. They got to find some balance. And yes, that starts with the short throws, but if you can't take the top off a defense or even threaten to take the top off a defense, you're going to continue to get teams that stack the box and play low and take away those short throws and rally to the runs. And it's not a recipe for success unless you can stretch them vertically.
Just let 12 seconds click off. Gatewood steps up on the run. Incomplete. Trying to find Allen Daly there. 1:13 to go. You get a touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. I mean, I was thinking that as Kentucky's possession started when they took over after the 4th down stop, and something in my brain said, well, they haven't done it yet. What would make us think that they can do it now? Trips to the right. Gatewood flushed again. And Joey Gatewood goes down. A huge sack for Georgia. 1 timeout remaining. Kentucky will use it here. That's the 4th sack for the Dogs. That one belongs to Anderson and Ojulari.
Kentucky takes their final charge timeout of the game.
And I've spoken about situational football. As a quarterback here, 3rd and 8, you're down 2 scores. Ball's got to come out, right? I mean, so what if you throw an interception? It doesn't help if you don't try. So these are things that Joey Gatewood will get back into the film room with Eddie Grant as offensive coordinator and just start to understand a little bit more what to do in these situations. That doesn't come naturally. And I know you've been in that situation as a high schooler, and things change when you're lining up and looking at Georgia's defense, right? I mean, things change when it's your first start. So these are things he'll get better at. I think he did some good today in how he was able to run the football and some of the ways that they got creative in the ground game, but a lot of learning to be done watching this film tomorrow for Kentucky.
You know, situational football that's not fun is being in that 2-point stance, knowing you got to take a kick set. and knowing that number 4, number 13, number 19, number 11, number 10 are going to be teeing off against you. That's not fun situational football for the Kentucky tackles.
Jermaine Johnson coming from the edge. Almost got him. Gatewood incomplete on 4th and 18, and they'll turn it over on downs. We got a flag. Tyreek Stevenson matched up with Josh Ali.
Pass interference on the defense, number 7. Spot foul, automatic, first down.
You know what they're trying to do here? They're trying to set a record for the quickest 57 minutes in a game and the longest 3-minute standing. Let's see here.
He impeded his progress across the field, looked like. Under a minute to go. They bring 4. A.J. Rose. We got another flag. You were right. N'Kobe Dean had coverage on Rose. Kenneth Horsey is the man down. They're in the 4th quarter in Clemson, South Carolina, where Boston College leads Clemson by 2. The Tigers had a chance to tie it. They went for 2 but didn't get it.
On the offense, number 67, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
So that's going to create an opportunity for Georgia. So Boston College hold on to move up in the rankings. Here's what else we got on the SEC network today. Busy day, 4 games on the network. Ole Miss and Vandy follow us from the West End, and then tonight, number 8 Texas A&M. And by the way, has an interesting path to Atlanta should they continue to win. They've got Arkansas, which has been a stingy defense this season under Barry Odom. Missouri and Florida at 7:30 on the SEC alternate channel.
That's the game all Georgia fans should be glued to tonight. See what Florida looks like, right? Last time we saw them, they lost to Texas A&M. That defense has not been physical. They've been porous, giving up huge plays, and the East might just come down to that game with Georgia sitting on top right now.
For the Wildcats, Kenneth Horsey picking up on the play.
Georgia will move to 4-1 after this one. And it'll be their 11th straight win in this series, in which these two teams have met annually since 1956. It'll be the longest win streak for either side at 11 games. Kirby, defensive back himself, coach defensive back for Nick Saban, coaching up Tyreek Stevenson. Happy birthday, Nick Saban, today, by the way. Horsey helped off the field. They're down to the 2nd string at 2 different positions on the Kentucky O-line. Another short pass. That one bobbled, and DeMarcus Harris taken down. No timeouts remaining for Kentucky. Stevenson is injured.
Big takeaway for Georgia, obviously offensively. Need to see more out of the passing game. Again, we mentioned didn't need it a ton today, but the injuries, right? Who's going to be healthy for next week? We saw a lot of injuries on that side of the ball. Rochester went down. Monty Rice has been banged up.
There's an injury timeout on the field. Kentucky will decline the 10-second runoff. It's 2nd down.
And Jordan Davis might be the biggest of all of those.
Yeah, forgot about that. Jordan Davis with the sling on the sideline as well. I mean, that could change things.
Talked to Kirby about Georgia's prep with their off week, and he said, guys, it's going to be boring. It's just coach speak, but we just had to get better ourselves and get better individually and focus on what we're doing. But no big grand reinvention for Florida, or pardon me, for Georgia. Gatewood taken down from behind. We got another flag.
Holding on the offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
That's Dodson from Belfry, Kentucky, the mountain man, northeast of Pikeville.
And he got Devontae Wyatt around the collar, coming off, trying to, quarterback leaves, defensive lineman tries to detach. Kind of easy to stay latched on, but got to let him go.
That's the end of the game.
Triple zeros. Kind of a throwback game with both teams leaning on the ground game. And Kirby Smart's team comes up and has a great first quarter. Now we're out to a 14-3 win over Kentucky. First drive for Georgia set the table. A 12-play, 86-yard drive. All 12 plays were runs. Stetson Bennett picks up the victory, and a career day for Zamir White. 14-3 is our final. Coming up next year on the SEC Network, SEC Now presented by Yellowwood, followed by Ole Miss and Vandy. From Cole Kubelik, Jordan Rogers, our sensational crew. I'm Tom Hart. So long from Lexington.